Here we are live on the Sunday mindset session. Tony, without notice today, I thought I'd just bring you in and just go, hey, let's go. Let's do it. Let's take some action and make some things happen.
Let's do it. I love it, Luke.
Had a great start to the morning, and more so than any other mornings this week, I was really impressed with the morning and the beautiful, gorgeous weather that we have in Sydney today. And it looks pretty gorgeous, and blue skies there in Brisbane as well, Tony.
Beautiful.
Good to
Absolutely
have you
beautiful.
on. Are you pumped for the Sunday mindset session? With Mum's come back on. Sarah's here as well from over in Florida. She's in Jacksonville, isn't she?
No, she's not in Florida. No, not at all. No, she's in North Carolina.
That's right. Christine, good to have you on as well. So good morning to you, Tony. How's the mindset on this Sunday?
Well, look, the mindset's gorgeous because it's a beautiful day, right? So what's not great about living in Queensland, or it sounds like New South Wales having some beautiful weather as well, but it's simply a wonderful time of the year, autumn, the sun's shining, it's not too hot, and it's you and I for, what is it, mate, number 45, 46, something like that?
46.
46.
Number 46.
Wow, so just as pumped today as I was on number one, mate, so loving it.
We're absolutely loving it. Tony, when it makes me thinking about all the sunshine and what's going on, how is your mood when the weather turns a bit? It's either the thunderstorms come in, or there's miserable weather for day in, day out. How are you feeling during those times?
Yeah, of course. Oh, look, I'm human, right? So the majority, unless you're out there storm chasing, but a lot of people tend to get a little bit down about it. But then you've got to also rationalize that. What can you do about it, right? So we can see, there's a saying which is everyone wants to complain about the weather, but no one wants to do anything about it. And so we're all sitting there and we complain and whatnot, but no one's doing anything about it. So it's like, just accept it and get on with it, make the most of whatever, because it's out of your control.
Yeah,
but do I prefer sunshine? Yes, I do. So much so, mate, that our daughter, so her name is Summer, as in summer, the season. So we love it. We love the sunshine.
Fantastic. That's a good way. Obviously, you put your money where their mouth is, right?
Sure have there, mate. 100%. 100%.
Tony, Hayden, Brett, Christine says good morning, and we've got a few other people that have joined us on this gorgeous day. I think we're thinking about the weather a little bit, and it does sort of subconsciously have an effect on you, whether I guess you like it or not. And having that awareness around it. And I think there was a bit of a gloomy day during the week, and I got a sense for myself. It was like, what's with my mood today? Like, why is it like that? And I guess being in tune with what is happening during those moments. And Davina, good to have you on. Hayden says winter rules. Hayden, winter does rule in certain aspects as well, because those cool, crisp mornings where we often have those blue skies come out, and there's a lot of stillness around as well. So I do like the whole thing about what you're saying there, Hayden, in regards to winter and some of those mornings where there's not much going on and there's a calmness around it as well. So Tony, what do you want to reflect on that?
Oh no, of course. So because if you follow through the seasons. So the seasons, autumn leaves drop, winter things, trees go within themselves. Spring they start to bloom and blossom and flourish, and obviously thrive in summer. So we're no different to a large extent. I mean, unless you're there's a lot of people who prefer the cold, and that's fine. But I think generally speaking, humans tend to follow the seasonal patterns. And it's it doesn't surprise me with your moods, and my mood changes as well. But then it's also a case of self-awareness, recognizing that, and then it's also, well, what can you do about it?
It's really interesting that Hayden would say winter rules, and he lives up in Brisbane. So I don't get that.
Hayden wouldn't have experienced a true winter then, living up in Brisbane. We don't get true winters up here. So
no,
if it gets into single digits, for us, that's incredibly cold. But normally the days in winter are simply gorgeous. We've got high teens, blue skies, etc. So now for Sarah watching in the States, I'm talking Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So yes, we're not talking single digits in Fahrenheit. No way.
Luke's also come on. Reese has also joined as well this morning. We did want to talk about the whole idea about personal feelings and emotions that you're experiencing during lockdown. And you've got to be aware of those subconscious thoughts. And we've just talked about the whole extent of, what's happening when, the weather changes and your moods change, where you're affected by various things, whether that's be, on TV through what the media is saying, through your isolation right now, and, how that's going to impact you, especially if you're someone that is probably extroverted, someone like myself. And you thrive on the energy from others and being with other people. But, it's caused me to shift a little bit, or, seek out that more of that connection, more so than, maybe when there was an isolation as well. So putting, another layer or a double effect on that to make sure, that I'm still getting that connection and having that awareness about what's going on with me. Tony, overall feelings and thoughts around those ideas?
Well, for you, just watching you're doing more Facebook Lives now as an interview style than you've done previously, and so that's how you're tapping into your desire to feed your extroversion, right? And so it's like, well, you can't be out there with people, sadly, but you're doing the next best thing, which is to speak to as many people as you can. And I love it. You're doing your own stuff. You're going onto other people's programs. You're going to come on my program on Tuesday. And so that's how you're able to to fulfill that particular need for yourself. So I think it's about adaptation. We've talked about this over the last few weeks. It's about self-awareness, know what you like, know what your strengths are, know what you need, and then find a way to make that happen. And there is ways to make that happen. Sure, it's not the same as the way it used to be, but here's the thing: as we move through this period, and I think Australia's in a really fortunate position. Don't want to be complacent about it. We're in a very fortunate position, certainly compared to other countries. But as we move through this, it's going to be a new world. So whatever it used to be like pre this, so February 2020 and before that, it ain't going to be the same anymore. It's going to be different. And so we're going to need to adapt again. I don't know what it's going to look like, but we're going to need to adapt again. But you're adapting beautifully, mate, by doing as many Facebook Lives interviews as you possibly can.
Greg says, good morning. He's just come on. Hayden says, I'm a Melbourne boy, actually.
Okay.
I think I did remember you mention that as well, Hayden. Born in Ferntree Gully Hospital down in Melbourne.
Right.
So he's found himself up in Brisbane now. But I guess there'll be some movement for him in future if he's a bit of a winter boy. So what about you and your adaptations for someone who's a little bit more introverted than my extroversion? What are you sensing for yourself and what you're doing, Tony? And then, what are some of those subconscious thoughts that have been coming into your awareness of late?
Well, this period's been made for me. So, I'm reveling in it. I'm doing so much work at them. In fact, I'm working harder now.
That was the shadow at the moment. It's made for you.
What's that? Sorry.
It's making you even more beautiful, mate.
Oh, thank you, mate. That's wonderful. It's only taken you 46 episodes to say that, mate, but it's been well worth the wait.
That was a backhanded comment.
No, I get it. So for me, look, I'm okay with it all. I mean, yeah, look, I've said before, it sucks being at home all the time, and you'd love to get out there. I would love to just go down to the local park and do this, but nonetheless, I'm stuck in my street. I'm too scared. I'm going to cop a $1,500 fine. But from an introverted point of view, yeah, look, it's great because I'm able to, do plenty of things. I was saying before we came on air that I've had a few people reach out to me and want me to write programs for them. So, I'm in my creative space. So that's worked out well. We've had some challenges on the personal front, with our older son, and so it's been very positive because we've been able to keep him under wraps, which he needs right about now. So, there's been a lot of positives for us as a family, and what we do is we make the best of whatever the situation is. So there's things, it's out of our control, and I suppose I'm very fortunate that I think like this, and I also fully understand that not everyone thinks the way that I do or my family does, but it's out of our control, and so we just make the best of the situation. I'm not saying that there's days where we don't want to go out and do something. Of course there are. We're human, right? But we're also thinking about for the greater good, and the greater good is that, as I said, Australia's doing really, really well at this. I'd hate to be in some of these other countries right now. Australia's doing incredibly well, but let's not lose focus. Let's not become complacent. We just need to keep riding this out, and
That's the
we'll be
big
out of this.
danger, Tony, right now is the complacency around that. Because even if when you walk the streets and people are not as mindful as they were probably a couple of weeks ago. So, hopefully the message can be spread even more so to step back, wait for other people to walk through, keep that distancing. We don't want to see a situation where, in Singapore where they, I guess there was maybe a complacency or whatever happened there, but they've gone with. They didn't have a lockdown at first. Now they've had to go into lockdown because of all the increased cases that are going on. And we're in a really good position. And we can come out of this a lot better health-wise and economic-wise out of this. And we could be a big powerhouse in terms of economic development moving forward. Rob, Richard, Mick have all come on. And Richard says, good morning. Good morning to you, Richard. And many others that are joining. Got a great crowd coming on today. And we're talking about the whole thing about your personal feelings, your personal emotions that you're experiencing during lockdown. Now, a big one that's come up for people, and I've probably heard this like maybe a little bit third hand or, thinking about the human behavior aspect of it, Tony, but it's the idea about boredom and maybe feeling stuck in the situation where, people, I guess they probably rely on some of the energy from other people, or they're in their own thoughts and they're in their own headspace, and they just think there's nothing to do. I'm always in a place where I've got so much to do, and I've got like 10 things that I want to do, and always there's something going on for me. But I realize from the other side where people are like, I'm bored, I can't control anything, or I don't know what's going on for myself and I can't do anything about it. And the mind just ticks over going, I'm bored. So any thoughts of what is going on there, and then maybe how people can help in that situation?
Well, I've got plenty of thoughts. Firstly, what you think about expands. So if you keep saying to yourself, I'm bored, I'm stuck. Well, what happens is it starts off being this big, and the more I think about it, becomes this big, and now this big, and now all of a sudden I'm confronted with this huge mountain. So it's turning a molehill into a mountain. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you're bored because you've got nothing to look forward to, right? So you're so used to going through doing your job and going here, and everything's almost on autopilot. And now that that's been taken away from you, you've got nothing in front of you. You've got no real purpose. You've got no real something down the road, a goal or something to work towards. And it could be any goal, right? It doesn't have to be a huge goal, like go and start your own small business. It could be something, but it's something that's in front of you, because if you're not looking in front of you, where are you looking? You're looking behind you, right? And so you're now dwelling on the past. And so the idea is, if you're at home being bored, firstly, recognise that what you're doing is you're doing it for the betterment of Australians. And if you're in Australia or wherever you are, but let's talk Australians, you're doing it for the betterment of your fellow Australians, because this is doing the right thing. This is working, like we've just talked about a few times. The second thing is, what would you like to do? What's something, I talk about the gift of time, right? We have this gift now where, normally our excuse is, I haven't got enough time to do that. Well, like I keep saying, I'm calling BS wherever I hear it, because we've got enough time. What would you like to do? What are the things that you've been thinking about for the last 2, 5, 10 years? It'd be nice if I could do such and such. Why don't you start doing that? Whatever that thing is. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It might be do little things. It might be play board games, BOARD board games, not BORED. Play board games with your family, for example. Read books. Connect through these sorts of mediums, through FaceTimes or Zooms or whatever. There's plenty of things that you can do if you stop and think about it. It's just that you're not thinking in front of you, you're thinking behind you and wishing for things to be the way that they were, and they're not. And they're not going to be.
That's really interesting, Tony. It makes me think about, dialing into some of the passions that we have within ourselves, or whatever they might be. Gary Vee talks about, trying new things and attempting different experiences and whatever it might be. So this might be an opportune time for people really to drill down and think about, what is it I'm really passionate about and want to spend my time on? And give you an example of this. I know sort of a cousin of mine, family friend, on the back of that, is basically in a situation where he is baking Maltese bread. He started up a YouTube channel and he's got 1,000 subscribers on that within a week.
Fantastic.
You know, you're basically drilling down. I know the Gary Vee's example that he often uses is about, you know, if you love the Smurfs, do a YouTube channel around the Smurfs.
Correct.
And, you know, sell the Smurfs gear or whatever. But really, you know, micro drilling down to that one thing. Now, he could have, you know, this extended family friend could have actually gone in and done all Maltese food, but he's not done just Maltese food, but he's done Maltese bread.
Yeah. So it's incredibly niched, right?
Really niche down, really niche down to the extent. And obviously the bread making situation right now is kind of huge around the world because, you know, people are, you know, cooking and doing things like that. So he's really taken that opportunity. And I guess there was, you know, I don't know whether there was thought that it was going to go nuts, but, you know, having the extent and the popularity around that, where people can experience that of what he's doing, this might be a way forward for whatever you are doing. So look, Richard, he's someone that does a lot of work with gold and, you know, looking for gold, panning for gold, whatever it might be, but really drilling down. And he might be able to do, you know, a little bit of a video series around that, have fun for himself, because that is his true passion and what he wants to do. Look, I don't know. I haven't really, you know, gone into the extent. So Richard, if I'm a little bit wrong on that one, I do apologize, but you know, that might be an example of getting towards your passion a little bit more. Yeah.
Oh, correct. And of course, you know, there's a couple of things I want to say about that. The first is that there's a process that you can go through to help discover your purpose. Because if you're sitting there going, well, I don't really know what my purpose is. So I've got this time, I'm bored, don't really know how to spend it. Why don't you discover what your purpose is? So it's called Ikigai, and it's Ikigai, Ikigai, and it's Japanese for your reason for being. What's your reason for being? And so it's 4 intersecting circles. What are you great at? What do you love doing? What does the world need? And what can you commercialize? And where those 4 intersecting circles will intersect, where those circles intersect, that's your Ikigai. So there's a process that you go through. So Google it up, Ikigai.
I guess in terms, Tony, in terms of that Ikigai theory, you know, it might be to a certain extent that you don't know if you're going to make money on it.
Maybe you don't, right?
Right?
Yeah, of course. Well, then passion, right? So passion is a subset of Ikigai. Passion is what do you love doing, and what are you great at, right? So I love making Maltese bread, and I'm great at it. Fantastic. That's a passion. The other 2 elements for Ikigai is then around that commercialization side, and then what does other people need? And it's interesting when you want to go and start a YouTube channel. My advice to everybody is start with incredibly low expectations. That is, do it because it's fulfilling you. Now, if one person happens to watch your channel or 1,001 people watch your channel, hey, that's awesome. But do it because I bet you that's more shopping. Honestly, my wife's online shopping has gone through the roof.
Well, maybe she should do a YouTube channel on that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she might make some money that she can then go out and spend.
I'll bet you it is too. Anyway, what I was saying is, do it without expectation. So that is, you're doing it for yourself. And if it happens to take off, hey, that's awesome. Like your cousin, it's taken off, and that's wonderful. But I'll bet you, you know, don't start off with I want to get 1,000 people, because if you set that expectation, just leave it up there, mate. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, all good. Thank you, mate.
That's hilarious. I know Luke did a bit of a ha-ha on that one. Sean's come on. Mick says silence spooks many people. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But Tony, tell us about these deliveries.
Oh, who the hell knows?
How many per week?
Oh, there's too many. There's far too many. Right?
How are people delivering on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m.?
Why? Well, they're delivering because people are ordering. So if people weren't ordering, there wouldn't be anything to deliver. So anyway, there's a lot of deliveries here. Know them all personally. Wonderful people. Keep up the great job. But it's all about doing your YouTube channel or whatever it is, but do it without expectation. If you do it with expectation, you're going to fall short. If you go, you know, I want to get 1,000 views, or I want this to go viral, and it doesn't, then all of a sudden you're going to be, you know, deeply upset. So do it because you love it. Do it because it's something you want to do, and if it happens to take off, well, hey, that's simply awesome.
Davina says, laugh out loud. She wonders if it's shoes or not. Is the shoes the big one for your wife, Tony?
Yeah, you know what? It actually looks like it's from DJs. So who knows? So
Sunday delivery, absolutely. Mark Navin has come on as well. And Davina says, morning to Greg. and Jane has come on. So a couple of developers in the mix there that are getting their Sunday mindset session
Absolutely
added.
We all need it. We all need our dose of Sunday mindset session.
Absolutely, get the dose. And Julian's also come on as well. We're talking about personal feelings and emotions that you're experiencing through lockdown. We just touched on the whole thing about boredom and feeling stuck. Before I get on to the next one, which is actually about planning and things you're looking forward to, which you kind of touched on a little bit. But Mick has said about, where was it there? It was around silence.
Yeah, silence. People are scared of their own thoughts. And so what do? So we get onto social media and we distract ourselves. We put the idiot box on, and that's what we do. We don't want to sit with our own thoughts because we're worried about what's going to come up. And I'm going to suggest that it's an opportunity for us to at least spend some time with our thoughts, because now when you spend time with your thoughts, you can start to think about what is it that you actually want, as opposed to I'm too scared to do it. So let me distract myself at all cost. I want to scroll through social media. I want to keep watching Netflix. I don't want to sit there and have to deal with the stuff inside of my own head.
I guess I use the TV or Netflix or whatever it might be just for a little bit of downtime, just to ease myself into a little bit of rest and things like that. So that kind of
nothing wrong with it.
But again, what works well for you is an important one. So maybe a little bit of rest on the couch, prior to going to bed. So I guess, like Mick says, self-awareness, yes. And having that self-awareness when I do need some rest time and take my mind away from, being very active all the time, which I often am in terms of business and doing other personal things in terms of investing, and then just shutting it off for a little bit of period of time. So it does get some rest and relaxation as well.
But there's nothing wrong with that, right? So I don't want people to interpret and say that I'm anti-social media or anti-Netflix. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're someone who's constantly looking through social media and constantly on Netflix, then what you're doing is you're wanting to avoid the reality of the situation, and you're using this. It's almost like alcohol and drugs to a certain extent. It's like, I want to take these things to take me away from the challenges that I'm going through. I want something to distract me, right? As opposed to what you're saying is you've been flat out all day and you just want to unwind. There's nothing wrong with doing those sorts of things. I unwind, with a good movie on some days. There's nothing wrong with it, right?
Just tell me if I'm wrong, Tony.
Sorry?
Just tell me if I'm wrong. If I get it wrong.
You're not wrong.
Okay. Ever?
Oh, you are, but not on that occasion. Just not on that occasion. You're right on that occasion. Well done.
Always right. What about, I guess the next point that we want to talk about is, are you planning and are you looking forward to things? And, things like family, friends, Zoom chats, which I had one on last night, had one on Friday, trivia and drinks, which is great. I think I've done that 4 or 5 weeks in a row now, which has been very impressive. And
cool.
See those people come out and have a little bit of a social catch up, and just a little bit of friendly banter, and some interesting things have come out of that, which we probably can't talk about today, but it's really it's exciting at the same time. So Tony, I guess there's something that I'm looking forward to today as such is actually going down to a local place. Then they've got these bagels and smoked salmon with a little bit of cream cheese and things like that. So,
beautiful.
A little bit of a delicacy that I'm going to take in this morning straight after this live video. So it's even about those small little things to look forward to. Now I know for Tony, for you, just to bring in a subject that we often talk about, and you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Not quite, but that's okay. Just go with it, mate. That's all right.
Ice creams.
Oh, I love it. Well, you're gonna make me go weak at the knees on national television. I love it. I look forward to it, right? And so I love my biggest issue is that I love food too much, and in particular ice cream. But you're right, Luke. It's all around having something that's in front of you to look forward to, because the reality is, if you're not looking forward, you're looking backwards, right? And so it's about looking forward to that something, like you said, your virtual drinks or your family Zoom catch-ups, or whatever it might be, because you can just have the same conversations. I mean, yeah, sure, you mightn't be there physically, but it'd be no different to going down to the local pub on a Friday night. It's just that you're all having drinks in your respective homes. And guess what? We've got to adapt. And so you're able to do that. And it's a lot of fun. I came along to a couple of them. I haven't been the last few weeks, but I'll come back to them. But the point is that you're out there. I've listened to the other people who've come on board, and they're loving it. They're loving the space that you're creating for them. You're showing leadership, taking the initiative, and saying, "Hey, come and join me for an hour or two, or 5, or however long it goes for, and let's just kick back and let's just have some fun together." And I think it's terrific, great initiative. Well done to you, and keep doing it.
It must trigger something in the brain when you get a sense of you always putting something forward for yourself or planning something, that it must just lead to a whole bunch of positivity around. I guess when we plan a holiday, or whenever, obviously we're stuck in this time right now, and I don't think there's too many people planning holidays right now, but there must be something around that to say, what does it do for us really, that we even though we have some tough times and issues come up, we've still got something in our brain. It was like, I'm going on that holiday, or I'm going down to the ice cream shop, or I'm going to go and get my bagel today, and really looking forward to those tastes and the, all the real good stuff around that as well, or even a run and the feeling that you get after a run or a walk or whatever it might be.
It's reward. It's positive reinforcement, Luke. It's reward. So it's like, let's talk about holidays, right? And a holiday for me perhaps could be to the ice cream shop, but nonetheless for a holiday, right? And it's like, well, I can either think about the drudgery of my job if I'm in a job that I'm not enjoying, or I can think about, well, I'm doing this job because it's enabling me to go to Fiji or Tahiti or wherever I want to go to. And so now it's this reward for all of my efforts. That's what it is. It's just about having something in front of me that's worthwhile, that keeps me, bounding out of bed each and every day as I've got to go and face that crappy boss or do that crappy task or whatever it might be, but I'm doing it for a bigger reason. And that is that I get to, enjoy going to wherever I want to go to. So it's about having, again, I've said it a few times today, if you're not looking forwards, you're looking backwards. And if you're looking backwards, that's bad news, right? That's incredibly bad news. And when we look backwards, well, what do we do? So how our mind works is it's looking for emotional things in your past, right? And typically those emotional things have a negative connotation around them. I'll give you an example. So if I said to you, do you know where you were on September 11, 2001? You don't have to tell me the answer, but is yes or no. Do you know exactly what you were doing on?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Do you know where you were specifically on August 11, 2001?
No.
No, right? Because that event, the World Trade bombings, created an enormous amount of emotion for all of us, right? We all have our own thing. It's like when Princess Diana died, and those sorts of events. And we create this emotion. That's how our mind then stores the memories around emotion. Right now, I'm not suggesting we're all going to go and look back and think about the World Trade Center bombings, but it stores emotional things, and sadly, the majority of those emotional things are around negativity. It's around loss. It's around depression. It's around the missed opportunity. It's around, oh my goodness, I acted like a fool, or that person criticized me. I've got all this emotion because I'm looking in the past, right? And so you can look backwards and think about all those things, and how's that going to make you feel on a Sunday morning when you wake up and you look, so you wake up, you're looking in the past, and now you're going, oh, there's that occasion, and that I missed opportunity there, and I was depressed there, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, you might as well just pull the doona back up and not get out from under the bed. Or alternatively, you can say, right, well, what's in front of me today? What have I got to look forward to today? So I'm going to replace all those thoughts or switch them out with something in front of me. Oh, that's right, I'm going to go and have my bagel, So as you're doing your run, you're thinking about your salmon bagel, or I'm thinking about the big tub of salted caramel ice cream, or whatever it might be. But you've got something in front of you. I know we're making light of it, right? But it's about having something in front of you.
It's brilliant. It's what it's all about. Natalie, Johnny, good to have you on. Christine says, nice. I think it was about my bagel that she was commenting.
Could have been my ice cream.
Mick says, purpose and achievement. Yes. That's a good one, and we talked a little bit about that. Getting towards your passions and so forth. Tony's out there waving the neighbours and bike riders and the like around there. All the delivery.
I'm just looking for the next delivery. I'm just watching up the end of the street in case there's another delivery truck coming. So
wave them down, or maybe they know your house that well.
They know where it is.
Ken says, my wife and I really miss the live concerts and our weekly
Sure.
therapeutic massages to get rid of the aches and pains. So Kenny works it hard. He's Ken's Cones down on the south coast of New South Wales. They're providing all the ice creams. So he's probably one of your good mates, Tony.
Ken, you and I should connect clearly. But what I can
Thanks,
say about
James.
that is in regards to the concerts, the live concerts, look, there's plenty of artists who are getting on and doing things. I get
Last
it via
night,
Zoom,
right?
Zoom or virtually, but there's so many artists who are out there giving of their time and playing great tunes. Yes, it's not the same as being in that environment. I get it, but it's an alternative right about now. In regards to the massaging, you're used to getting a massage. Maybe it could be good couples therapy, right? So maybe you could turn that on.
Great idea.
There's
So
always opportunity.
massages and live concert in the home. Let's keep it PG. Amy, good to have you on. Natalie says hi.
We got all the solutions here on a
If you're
Sunday
still
morning.
watching, Ken, keep it PG, buddy. Alex Woods, good to have you on as well. And Tony, let's move along to what can people really start to think about organising for themselves? How can they change things up? What kind of new experiences might help with the whole thing about variety? I wonder, like, is it a case for a lot of people that variety is the spice of life? Even, whether extroverted, introverted, do you seek out variety?
Some people don't. So some people don't. Some people like things very structured and the same. Other people like variety. But I think the issue that I'm seeing is generally right now is that people are so used to doing a particular thing. That is, I know that from Monday to Friday, I've got to go on the train into the city to my job. I do that. Then on a Saturday, I've got to go and I've got to take the kids to sport for the first half of the day. Then I come home and mow the lawn next day. Then on the Sunday, I've got to do this. Then I'll sit down on the Sunday afternoon, I'll watch my footy. Right. So they've got themselves this routine. Right. Now, here's the thing. Is that this is an opportunity. This is almost like the world has put pause on everyone's life, and they've said from your normal life, and they've said here's an opportunity for you to just stop, think about, pop your head up, see what else is around, be like a meerkat, pop your head up, and go, what else would I like to be doing right now? Instead of just going through this routine each and every week, and all of a sudden I do 52 of these in a row, and that's a year done. It's like, why don't you stop and take stock? So I said last week, I've been supporting one of my largest clients who's in the franchise space. We're getting so many phone calls, right? So many phone calls because people are going, you know what? I don't know if I want to go back and work for that person anymore. I think now's a good time for me to pop my head up and go, maybe I want to do something different. Maybe I want to do something for myself right now because I've got an opportunity where I wouldn't have thought of this ordinarily had the world not stopped.
Really interesting, Tony, because I spoke to a lawyer who specializes in trademarks, and he's saying he is busier than ever. So
Yeah,
people that are either doing less time as an employee or have lost their jobs are actually putting themselves into a space of registering a trademark and getting their small business started or something on the side to get them working in future, or having that side hustle to then maybe have a side income that's going to generate, just in case something like this was going to happen again, or if there's another recession or anything. So actually to build your wealth creation up, which is really important. Amal, Jen and Clayton and a few others that have come on as well. Amy said, love it. Ha, keep it PG. Absolutely. Tony, we're seeing more and more of that trademark sort of thing, and small business start.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this whole side hustle thing has been around for a long time. I started my side hustle back in 2015. I think you started yours long before I did. And so it's been around for a long time. Both you and I are massive fans of Gary Vee. He's preached about this for many, many years. It's now that people are starting to go, maybe that is something for me. Maybe I love doing, Maltese baking, or I love doing, I got a haircut earlier this week. Well, the hairdresser, she's telling me that because she had some time off and now they're slowly getting back into it. But she was doing calligraphy and she was doing knitting. She said these are things that she hasn't done for about 10 or 15 years, and she's picked it up again and she's loving it, right? And so she's going to do some of that and take it down to the markets and have some fun with it. So there's an example where, we're so used to saying I've got no time, but we do have time. It's just we're not looking hard enough. But anyway, we're saying I've got no time. Well, now we've got heaps of time. And so what's that something that you really want to do, that you really love doing, that you're passionate about? It's like, you know what? There's ways that you could potentially do it and make a couple of bucks on the side. And guess what? If you made slightly less money than where you are in a job that you hate, but you're out there making candles or doing something along those lines, and you're making slightly less money, but you're having some fun doing it and you're happy, well, I know what I'd rather be doing, right? And so it's about, because ultimately what I've learned through my experience is that it's all about chasing happiness. That so many of us aren't happy. So many of us are just going through the humdrum of life because we have to, because we're locked into big mortgages and we've got car loans and all these private school fees and whatnot, as opposed to going, you know what, I'm going to want to do something that makes me really, really happy. Makes me feel very good. I have a saying which is, may your shoes follow your heart. Right. So what's your heart telling you? And why don't you get your shoes to follow that?
Yeah, it's a great thought there. Amy says, yes, great time to do something different. Lots of people starting online businesses.
Perfect.
All that side residual income. Yes, that could be a good way. And you've got to think about who you are as well, making sure, because we're all going to be different. It might put people in a state of overwhelm if they've got too many things going on at the one time. Multiple income sources, says Amy, so we're not caught having all our eggs in the one basket. Yes and no, Amy, on that one for me, in terms of, if you've got all these eggs and you're spreading yourself too thin, well, are you actually, following which one of those is actually a true passion you're going to spend the most time on? So that'll be a question for each of us to actually work on. Maybe it's a case that you can juggle all those, and maybe I think Gary also talks about the whole idea about, maybe if you drop in one of those eggs, so what? Maybe it doesn't, you try about 8 or 10 different things and you can't juggle them all, and, one falls down for a little bit and then you pick it up later down the track. So all can work in different ways. And I think that's where we've got to think about those aspects of it. What works for one person may not work for others. But then if you've got you're juggling all these eggs, then you've got to think about, if you do let one go, that it's okay and you just move on from that. She also says,
well, the other thing, I was going to say,
you never work a day in your life. Absolutely. And Amy flies planes and she's a teaching pilot.
Fantastic, Amy, and you're right. It's a great saying that I think Steve Jobs came up with that quote a long time ago. The other thing I was going to say, it's a little bit like a buffet, going back to the point about 30 seconds ago, and you want to try different things, right? So it's about, you go to a buffet and or a dessert buffet in my case, and you want to try different things, and then when you find the one that you go, this is what I want to do, then go dive into that, dive into that thing. And when we talk multiple sources of income, we're not talking about, you don't have to have 10 sources. It might be 2. It might be because at the moment, the majority of society has one source of income, right? And a number of those people, if you're in, hospitality, for a lot of those people, there's other places as well where they've got zero income now, right? And so this is the opportunity to at least have that second income. And then if you want to get into investing and all sorts of things, by all means, reach out to Luke and his business and have a chat to them. But it's about having, different incomes for yourself, but also more than just the money, right? The money to me is the byproduct. The true essence is what's going to make you truly happy. What's that thing that you love doing, that the sun comes up and you just bound out of bed because you want to go and knit or make that candle or do your Maltese baking or whatever it might be. All of us are different, but wowee, that's the piece there, as opposed to, I've got to go and do that bloody job again, and I've got to put my suit on and get the train, and and so it's about
Monday-itis, basically.
Of course, because like Amy said, which is a quote, that when you love what you do, when you're passionate about it, and it just oozes out of you, then you're going to be good at it. Why? Because you're going to stick with it. You're going to do it more and more and more and more. You're going to put effort in, and money will come as a result. You should never do something.
And people will see your passion behind it, your confidence behind it, and that exudes out of you. That energy, that positive energy, exudes out of you. It was really interesting. I spoke to someone yesterday who does construction management. And it was really interesting to hear him. I was like, he's just starting out. He wants to be a developer himself. So he's
Yes.
looking at an idea to actually move forward. And I actually asked him, I was like, well, can you do it? This is your first project. He goes, oh, I think I can do it. And he goes, I'm young, and I might find it a little bit hard to get people across the line, as in joint ventures and things like that. And actually haven't got a lot of experience as in development wise on a personal thing. But but I was like, well, like the way I talk when I'm talking about, buy and hold properties and investing and so forth, what do you think is my level of confidence? It was like, yeah, it's extraordinarily high. So, you want to exude that same, that much of confidence if you're going out there to have a belief. And that's the big thing, Tony. It's the belief that you can make it happen. Doesn't matter what kind of climate that you're in, or, what's really happening at the moment. If you put all the right steps in place, and you can be a success, and it might come with a little bit of trial and error. It might be a few mistakes here and there, but you've got to have that belief and confidence.
Well, it's really simple for me, Luke, that if that person and any of us don't believe in what we're doing, why would someone else want to invest? So you're saying that person they're looking to get potential JV partners. Why would I want to hand over my money if someone's uncertain, they don't believe themselves, they've got imposter syndrome, but all these things? I'm not going to do it, right? But when someone comes across and they love what they're doing, they're passionate, they're confident, they're certain, that is far more attractive for me to want to hand over my money and do a potential joint venture with that individual.
That's a good message. Hopefully that person's on watching today, so they can hear some of the thoughts that we have, because I think, the confidence around that. And this particular person works as a construction manager right now. So he has a little bit of, on the job skill to back himself up on that. It's just that, having that mindset that you are young and people aren't going to do a deal with you. But if you exude the confidence and you know exactly what you're doing and exactly what you're saying, and you can portray a really clear picture to clients and potential joint venture partners, well, you can make so much of it. Amy says, absolutely, it's all about trial and error, learning what works for you. Yes, keep trying things is the strong message. Kyle Manson, good to have you on. And Amy also says, yes, great point. Money is the byproduct. Thanks, Luke. Most rewarding feeling, teaching people to fly. So, if anyone wants to learn how to fly, go and hit Amy up. You can DM her there as well. So happy to give a plug, Tony, as you love to do a plug. And you
absolutely. No, Amy's doing a wonderful job, and I follow her journey. I've never met her personally, but I follow her journey, and she's doing a great job there, both flying, but then also teaching people to fly, which is fantastic. I just wanted to say that you and I haven't started off, with success. Like, it doesn't just, look at Luke and I now, and not that I'm overly successful. I'm certainly building towards it, but it's a case of it didn't start off that way. Right. And so, for those who know my story, back in 2004 and 5, we lost $100,000 on an ice cream shop. Can you believe it? So you talk about passions taking over, stupid passions, right? As opposed to using financial. 100% emotional. Oh, I had my snout in the trough for that 9 months, I can tell you. So, but we lost 100 grand in that. We lost a lot of money in different buy and hold properties. I wanted to start off being a life coach. That didn't work out. All sorts of things, right? There's so many. We haven't got long enough to sit here and go through all the mistakes that I've made. But the point is, I don't want you to wake up on a Sunday and go, oh, you'll want to be like those guys and whatnot, because I can tell you there's one hell of a backstory. I'm an overnight success, 47 years in the making. And so it's a case of we all have different things we've got to go through. It's about having the courage to start. A lot of us, I use the analogy of, say, a sporting arena. A lot of us will sit up in the stands and we'll criticize and we'll, whatever. It's when you put your shoes and socks on and you get on the field, that's where the real magic can happen. And so it's about, you want to get out of the stands and get onto the field, and you're not going to get it right, and you're going to make mistakes, but it's called learning. And that's okay, because you've got this bigger goal, this bigger purpose for yourself, and you're going to stay the course. But your journey from where you are to where you want to get to is not going to be a linear straight line, I can assure you. It's going to be all over the place and backwards and forwards and sideways. But it's about knowing that I've got this bigger thing that's in front of me, and I must make that happen. And when I have that approach, then you'll do whatever you can to make it happen.
You know, it kind
Sorry,
of
mate, I
made
went
me
on a bit of a rant
like,
there.
it kind of made me think of, you know, wear your life. Like, I've got the Search Party Property t-shirt on right now. It was like, I'm wearing my life.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it makes me think of. We had Ron Burgundy come on, special person. Interesting. I don't know who that is. Mick Nelson says self-belief and just having fun. During lockdown, I'm secured another project. So well done to Mick. He's over in New Zealand doing some renovations. They're probably 3/4 of the way through the first one, and looks like they got another deal to come. Amy says, thanks for the plug, Tony and Luke. You are both very inspirational. Thank you, Amy. Very kind words. Mick says, life happens in an arena, not sitting in the stands heckling. Absolutely. Get on. You know, look, take those educated. I spoke to Tom Panos the other day, and we talked about educated risks, or what was the word he said?
Calculated risks, is it?
Sorry?
Calculated risks?
Yeah, calculated risks. That's it. Beautiful.
Yep.
Were you listening, or you just came up with that?
No, just made it up.
Great. So when you talk about, you know, educated risk or calculated risk, to put yourself in a perspective of like trying new things and having a go. Have a go in life. Have a go.
It's courage. Look, it comes down to courage or bravery. That's what it comes down to. Like, you think about, for you, you know, you had the security of a job. I mean, what was it for you, mate? What was the thing that prompted you to go, right, I'm going to start this thing on my own?
For me, it was around, there was so many drawbacks with work, but I could see that I could visualize, or I got a sense for me that my path wasn't always going to be as a strata manager working for someone else. Was that I could, you know, see what other people were like at work, and I didn't want that life. And I wanted something separate. And then the more I got the constraints of being tied down, not having the flexibility at work, the more it pushed me and motivated me to do things that little bit differently. And that's where the investing took over. And I got myself in a position to have enough cash flow to go, you know, the method that I'm going through right now is really working. And the sooner I get out of this job, the better I'm going to have an opportunity to spend more time, even more time at something that I really love. And I wouldn't have been able to buy the amount of properties that I have if it wasn't for the case of actually leaving my job. And actually spending more time at seminars. I'd be the first one to turn up at a property seminar and the last one to leave. I just sit around and hang around with those experts that, you know, had multiple properties in their portfolio, that have had this success. Go and speak to all those people that have had more properties than me. Spend my time with like-minded people. Put my hand up in the seminars and ask the questions, even if they were dumb and stupid questions. Just always put your hand up. That's a sense of people get to relate on who you are. Now, that's turned out now to see us down the track going, oh, I remember Luke and all those years ago. He's the guy that started building his property portfolio. He got up on stage. He put his hand up. He said yes to things, and he got himself out there, put himself out there. The vulnerability, Tony, you know it. We put ourselves on Facebook all the time, but the vulnerability of getting out there is super special. And if you can start telling your story about what's going on, and we all have a story, there's so many people that start to trust you even more. And I think that's a big brand building for us. You know, everyone does sponsored ads or on Facebook, or, you know, small business, but the organic reach that we've got, or the posts that we do to just give value all the time, is super special.
Well, it's 3 words. It's know, like, and trust. They are the 3 key words for any business. People need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you. So, for example, if people don't see you on Facebook on a regular basis, I don't know who you are. Then, if I don't know you, I don't get a chance to like you or trust you. So it's a great example. And of course, you know, when you started, Luke, I mean, I dare say in your wildest dreams, you didn't think when you first started that it would be where it is today, right? It would have been very different for you, but you had the courage to start.
I
And
had
so the
no
message,
idea what was going to happen. I had no idea. So
no, but you,
that,
but you
that's
had a
really
lot
good
of
message,
confidence.
is because I'm detaching from any sort of outcome. It's like, okay, my goal is to increase by a certain amount of clients and, to do multiple property deals and help people create wealth and all that sort of thing. But then detach and think about, what am I going to do today?
Yep.
What am I going to do today?
But you're doing what you love, right? So it's about detaching from the outcome. We touched on that earlier. It's about do what you love. So with your cousin who's doing his Maltese bread making, he's got 1,000 subscribers, which is awesome on YouTube. But you start off and you do it because you love it, and you do it because you love making Maltese bread, and you put something out on YouTube, and you detach yourself from whatever happens from there, because you just simply get up each day and you're following your passion, you're following your heart, and that's the key thing. The money will come as a result of all that, right? And who knows when and who knows how much and whatever, but it's about detaching yourself from the outcome, control what you can do. And what you can do is each and every day get up and think about, what's that something that I want to be doing? And then once I've thought about what it is, I'll get clear on that. And now I'm going to take steps towards that. And here's the thing, progression beats perfection. So it's about taking one step. Right? If you just take one step today, that's awesome. And you take one step tomorrow, that's awesome. It's not about, so many people will sit back and go, oh, but I need everything to be lined up and everything to be perfect. And I'm not going to start until I've got all that. And it's like rubbish. Just start. Because here's the thing that happens when you start, you're constantly evolving, constantly learning, constantly fine tuning. But if you don't start, if you don't have the courage to start, you're never going to know any of it. Right? So if you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I wouldn't mind getting into a small business, blah, 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 I'm going to say, turn those thoughts into actions, and let's get it going. Because another saying, I'll give you heaps of them, but if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And so it's a case of, if you're thinking about doing this thing, you've thought about it for years, now's a terrific time to get off your backside and put some steps in place to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I might actually get Patrick on to talk about, we've been speaking about the Maltese bread for a while. I might interview him on Facebook and talk to him about that. I might inspire someone to do something else.
Yeah, I'd love to. It'd be a really fascinating interview. Just understanding, why he did what he did, and what is it about the Maltese bread, and what prompted him to come up with that and put that on YouTube. There's a whole lot of, I love the decision making, the thoughts that go on with people. That's the bit that I get off on personally. It's like, well, what did you go through? What did you thinking? What was the decision? What was that tipping point that said, I'm now going to put it onto YouTube? Because so many of us sit there with all these with all these dreams, but we never actually get onto the field with our boots on. And we're going to finish our life with an enormous amount of regret. And you have to ask yourself here on Sunday morning, do you want to finish your life with the regret of going, well, back in 2020, I thought about doing something, but I didn't have the courage to get off my backside and do it. And is that what you want for yourself? And if you do, well, I feel sorry for you. But if you want to actually go, you know what, I want to actually take action and make it happen and follow this thing. And you know what? It might be successful and it might not be, right? But you're having a go. You're having a go. And that was the thing, I think, back to my ice cream. Absolutely. I think back to the ice cream cafe.
Have a crack.
Have a crack. Just have a go at it. You know what? And you don't know, but you see, you never know the outcome if you don't have a go. But what a lot of us are doing is we're fearful of failure. We're fearful of criticism from other people. And we don't want to embarrass ourselves. We don't want to be ostracized or criticized. And so we just sit there and we watch Netflix.
Tammy, good to have you on. We've just been talking about personal feelings and emotions today, about people thinking about these things during lockdown, things like boredom, feeling stuck in their situations. Secondly, thinking about, are you planning or have you got things that you're looking forward to? They might be simple as a family and friends Zoom chat. Also thinking about what can you organize, what you can change up, what kind of new experiences. And we use those examples like the Maltese bread and other various things that you can actually put in place right now. Greg says, fear stops a lot of people. Tony, I need to get down to the bagel place because they could run out today. But hopefully it's something that I'm looking forward to. Any final thoughts? I'll give you 5 seconds to wrap things up for today.
No, just follow your passion. Do something, follow your passion. Don't waste this time, right? We have the gift of time. Don't waste it. Last one, I've got to give a plug. On Tuesday, I've got this great man coming on my program. So on Tuesdays, I do a little interview series. It's called Talk to Tony Tuesdays at 2. So it's all the T's. And this week we've got Luke on. It's a very business oriented. We're going to have a chat to Luke around some of the things that we just touched on. What were the decisions he went through, and where is he at with his business, and how's he pivoting from a business point of view in with COVID-19. So I'm looking forward to it. So
Thanks
talk
for
to
letting
Tony
me know what we're
Tuesdays
talking
on
about, 'cause you
Tuesdays on
mentioned
2.
it the other day.
What's that? Sorry.
Like I said, thanks for letting me know what we're talking about, because you didn't mention it the other day.
No, you'll get an email today. I love that. Well, that's what I love about you, mate. It's just like, well, I say yes first, and we'll figure it out later. So,
Yeah,
so it's like, you want to be on? Yeah, I'll be on. And now you're coming to me going, oh, what are we actually going to talk about again? So I'll send you an email later on today. But no, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. And I got to go and see what this delivery is. Who knows what is in this box over here?
It might be something for you, Tony. You never know.
Oh, it could be. Isn't that exciting?
All right. See you guys.
Very good. See you guys. Bye.